Guess what, Liz? It's a Saturday! Hey guys, Saturday morning. It should be illegal to do any kind of work on a Saturday. I hate working on Saturday mornings. But today is the second part of a series related to the holy grail of running finishing time. So we started off with the sub 20 minute 5K. Today, we're going to do the sub 40 minute 10K. We've still got the sub 90 half to go and the sub 3, but I haven't done the sub 3 yet. So don't take my advice on that at all. I'm never going to give you my advice on that. Just don't even worry about it. We'll get there. In like a year's time or something. We'll get there. Now I'm at 3 out of 4 and I've been lucky enough to be able to knock my 10K time all the way down to 36:15. So yesterday I was looking back at my data and I could see that I ran a sub 40 minute 10K about 6 weeks after I ran my first sub 20 minute 5K. And a fortnight before I actually ran that sub 40 minutes, I actually ran 18:45 in the 5K. Pretty cool stuff, but this highlighted to me that there's probably a couple of rules around attempting this sub 40 minute 10K in 5-week challenge. The first one, obviously, is that you have to have ran a sub 20 minute 5K and you need to have done it within the last couple of months. There's no point doing it like 2 years ago and then thinking that this is gonna be better because this is gonna be a hard 5 weeks, that's for sure. Now the second rule is that you should probably be in that 40 minute bracket. So 40 all the way up to 40 and 59 seconds, because if you're any further away from that, it's highly likely that you'll benefit more from doing a month of base building and then starting this plan just to get your base in top shape. And I think you should probably already be running 4 times a week pretty consistently with no issues. And most importantly, you're not starting this training plan with an injury because that is a recipe for disaster. So let's get into it. Now, unfortunately, we live in 2024, and 2024 running is all about gear. So I think it would actually be very silly of me to not bring up the fact that you could just wear these and take 30 seconds off your time if you're, a really high responder to carbon plated shoes, and then you wouldn't have to train any harder. There you go, 2024, hey? Okay, so week 1, we're doing a 40 minute 10K. We're doing a 40 minute easy run. God, we're gonna wait for that. And we're gonna do a second 40 minute run just with 10 strides in the middle of the week, okay? Bridging that gap. Then we're gonna have a long run of at least 60 minutes. Now, I'll leave this up to you as to whether you do a really long run or you just keep it at 60 minutes. It doesn't really matter too much. It just depends on you personally as an individual. But I was definitely doing 16 to 20 Ks every single week when I did my first sub 40. So there you go. Now session 1 is an absolute banger. We're going to do 10 lots of 400 meters at that 350 per K pace. So it's 10 seconds per K under our goal pace. So we're getting really good at getting really fast. And then once we've done those 10, we're going to do 6 times 400 right around that 5K pace that I think you guys probably would be around if you're going for a sub 40 5K. All of that is going to have 1 minute of rest in between. And so the volume of that session is going to be 6.4 Ks faster than goal race pace. And that's what's really important. We've got to get used to stuff that's faster than goal race pace. So then when we come back to it later in this training program, we're going to feel so good. It's going to feel epic. Okay, week 2, a good fun week. So we're going to build on week 1 during the session, but the rest of the week is going to be exactly the same. We don't want to push it too hard, trying to increase the intensity and increase the volume at the same time. That sounds like a recipe to get really fucking hurt. So the session is going to be 6 times 1K at 355 per K pace. So just a little bit faster than our goal race pace. So getting used to extending that speed over longer distances. So we're doing, 3 minute 55 blocks at our goal race pace, slightly faster. Pretty cool. And then we're gonna finish that session off with 6 times 400 meters at 345 per K pace. So kicking it up in the end, we're going for that negative split mentality for sure. Everything is gonna have 1 minute of rest in between throughout the entire program because that's just the easiest way to remember it. Otherwise, we just get into the weeds with rest times and stuff. But the best thing about this is that we've built on 6.4 kilometers of volume in the last week and we're bumping it up to 8.6 kilometers. So we're building towards that 10K of effort. Epic. Okay, week 3, let's go. So week 3, once again, gonna keep the volume of the normal easy weekly stuff fairly straightforward. But this week is gonna be our 5K race simulation where we fully send it. Now, we spent week 3 in our previous sub 5K video really working on building that progressive run into the 5K by doing a 5K simulation race. But in this one, we're just gonna fully send the 5K because that is a lot of volume at faster than 5K pace. And it helps us to absorb the training that we've done in the past and then build into another 2 hard weeks before we smash it, basically. Now, in terms of times for this time trial, I would say that you'd probably have to be in the low 19s to the high 18s to really have a chance at smashing this sub 40 minute 10K, for sure. Because you need to have a little bit of speed reserve to actually make a 10K feel comfortable. Because what will happen is if you don't have enough speed reserve, you will get to about 2Ks in and realize that this is really hard, and then you're gonna explode. And by the 8th kilometer, you're probably gonna be running way off pace. So we're gonna double check that our training is actually working by smashing this 5K and then making sure that we're right in that fitness zone, because otherwise, what's the point? Now, if you do this and you're not in the actual zone, it probably means that you're not quite ready, and you might actually benefit from doing another month of base building and then coming back and doing week 1 again and working back through. And you might find that you're right in the ballpark second time round, and then you can continue on, because the key session in week 4 is super important. And if you don't do that on the right paces, you're not gonna get that sub 40 minute 10K. So week 4, we're gonna continue on with our 40 minutes easy and then 40 minutes with 10 strides. Super straightforward, a nice long run. And then session 4, this is gonna set us up perfectly to get at the right pace for our week 5 time trial in the 10K, because this is like a predictor session, like a key predictor session. What we're gonna do is 3 times 3 kilometers with a 2-minute rest in between. And the key with this is that the paces that we hit in those 3-kilometer blocks is gonna help us to understand if we're ready for this sub 40 or not. So the paces that you have to hit are 4 minutes for the first one, feeling very comfortable, 3:55 for the second block on average per K. That's gonna feel pretty comfortable again. And then we're gonna fully send the last one and get at least 3:40. Now, I think when I ran a 36:15, I did this workout 2 weeks prior rather than just 1 week prior, so sorry. But in the last 3 kilometers, I was probably about 10 seconds or so under the race pace that I would end up doing. And this is really perfect, basically. So that's what we're gonna do. And if all goes well, we are ready for week 5. And we're gonna have a mini taper where we do 40 minutes twice with some strides, and then we fully send it on race day. Now, race day strategy for the day is pretty important, okay? We don't want to go out too hard. We want to be conservative in our effort. Even if our effort is, off race pace, it doesn't really matter, because you're gonna make up heaps of time by negative splitting the race, okay? So if you're at 3Ks and it's feeling really, really hard, then this is not going to be a good day for you. And it's probably best to not try and go any faster and try to conserve yourself and get to the finish line. But I like to split a 10K into 3 chunks. The first 4K is like you're basically asleep, like it's not feeling that hard. The middle one is where you're really grinding and pushing yourself, pushing the pace. And the final 3 is about conserving the effort that you've put in the middle to get under your race time and just getting to the line. And if you can accelerate a little bit, that's okay. If you can't, then just save it for the last 200 meters and you're all good. So there we go. There's your sub 40 race plan. Now, once you've done this, you're in the top 1% probably of any runner that have ever existed. So well done. Now it's time to move on to some half marathon stuff, which is the best distance. Half marathon's the best distance, for sure. See you guys tomorrow.